Hey guys, this is Carlos EDC and today we're reviewing the Kapara. So the Kapara was sent to me from my friend Aaron AM Sharp on Instagram. Super cool guy, and I was able to carry it, test it. I even cooked a full dinner with it. I'll post that video as well sometime. Yeah, let's just get right down to the review and check this piece out.
In the positives, it's a compression lock. I love compression locks. The community loves compression locks. Everybody and their mamas love compression locks. Another positive, it's that the designer Alistair Phillip was his first custom design, and Spyderco was cool enough and liked the design enough that they made it into production. Another cool thing about the design it was that it is focused because Alistair Phillip is a chef. It is focused primarily, not primarily, but it's focused a little bit on the kitchen side, a little bit on the cooking. And in fact, I cooked the whole dinner with this. Last night, I also prepped a lot of potatoes for fries, and even made a burger. And all I used was this knife for both dinners because I wanted to test it out, and I do have footage of it, so I'll show you guys that in a bit. Another positive of it is the ergonomics on this thing are awesome. So generally I would compare ergos with the PM2 because a lot of people like the PM2. Quick size comparison actually. So as you can see, it is a little bit more blade efficient than the PM2. And in the ergos, I think I'm gonna give them to the Kapara today, just by a little bit of a margin. Especially when you come down here, you can still have your whole hand in there, and it feels good. There's no like weird hump down there that pokes your pinky, and up here feels great too when you're choking up. Usually, when I was cooking, I would hold it like this. I think that's called like a pinch grip. And on the PM2, when you hold it down here, this little thing pokes you. When I hold it up here, my middle finger feels a little bit empty. So in ergonomics, I'm gonna give it an 8. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Another size comparison: the native. This one's an LC200N and has an MXG clip. Review coming soon. Stay tuned for that, please. And as you can see, it's a lot longer and yeah, a little bit more blade efficient. But the native, it is a fan favorite as well. Ergonomics are great, but ergonomics are still better in my opinion for my hands. We have different hands and different calluses. I would still give it to the Kapara. And another size comparison, the Bella. Okay, we'll keep going with the review. The positives, again, it was designed well. It is blade efficient in comparison to other compression lock knives. It is ergonomic. It is smooth. You may or may not like its aesthetics. Personally, I like it. For example, they did a really good job with the pivots. They look beautiful, very custom looking. The carbon fiber looks great. It's a little bit different than your regular carbon fibers. It just looks great. I like carbon fibers that are not, your vanilla carbon fibers. This one's cool because it's white, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I like the red backspacer. Some people wanted a more red backspacer than this. Personally, I like the maroon touch. Weight wise, it's great. It feels phenomenal. It won't be as lightweight as a native lightweight or as a bailout, but it's pretty lightweight for EDC. I'll annotate the weight right here. Fit and finish, it came out and it's absolutely great. The blade tip is centered. Nothing's poking out. No lines are different or weird. Everything's smooth out. The only maybe that they needed to smooth out was the hole. I love the blade on this thing. It's pretty long. It is reminiscing to a lot of my kitchen knives. I didn't do, as you can see from the video, I didn't do a lot of these kinds of cuts, but I did a lot of drank cuts just because even though it's a long knife or pocket knife for kitchen knife, it's not that big. For EDC, it was great. I don't miss the jimping. I like the smooth on the back. Usually I do compliment jimping if it's done correctly, but if it's not done correctly, the alternative is doing no jimping and just having nice smooth knives like this one. The tip was great. I like tips that don't get away from me. You know, some tips get away from you. For example, people were talking about the utility of a tanto, but the tip kind of gets away from you because it's kind of pointing straight up rather than a little bit down, like with this one. Opening packages was great. Cutting cardboard down was great. Again, cooking that pasta, preparing the zucchini, the pepper, the potatoes that I did last night was great. Deployment is good to go, both with the thumb, with the middle finger, with the index finger. The pocket clip is great. You don't have to buy an aftermarket pocket clip like you do with a lot of other Spydercos. It rides nice and low, and the top is still pretty good looking when you look down. I like looking at something cool, and this is definitely a pretty cool look. But I've said this before about knives. When I feel like a knife has been designed, you feel like it. And this Kapara feels like it's been designed. Everything from when it's closed down and it's in your pocket and you can fit your hand really nicely to grab your wallet or whatever. It feels really nice when you deploy it. Like, it looks like it's been designed and somebody took care of the details. And I think Spyderco did a great job in their Taiwan factory, which is probably their best high-end factory. The liners have been milled out. The pocket clip is great. All the hardware looks awesome. So it's just a knife that looks well designed. From every angle that you look at it, somebody took the time and the effort to make this knife beautiful and nice. Also, positive that not everybody would care about, but I really like that Alistair Phillips signature right there. That's his maker's mark. Something really classy. You know, it's just a signature from a chef, which is pretty cool. Then you get the Taichung Taiwan pretty discreetly, and you get the Spyderco CPM S30V. So let's just talk about the negatives. So in the negatives, the deploying hole is a little bit small, so you gotta really dig in there to get your thumb in there, and you gotta really aim when you put your middle finger in there. Is it a real negative? No. Is it a nuisance? Sometimes. It's still really fidgety. It's still really cool. The other thing that's kind of a little bit on the small side is the cutout for the lock. It's a little bit small. Not a big deal. Again, this is the price you pay for something that's going to be this efficient, and I'm willing to pay that price. So it's not a real negative. Like with the PM2, like the cutout is bigger, but you don't have as much blade. The hole is bigger, but then you get this ugliness up here. Not gonna lie, it's like an ugly hump, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the aesthetics of the PM2. So I'd rather pay the price and have like smaller holes and smaller cutouts. You know, it is something I want to point out. Another negative, Spyderco really doesn't want to put finger choils on their knives, even though Alistair Phillip asked for one personally. They wouldn't put one on the knife. So there's videos out there where you can customize your Kapara to make it look more like the custom. You can buy a different backspacer, which I wouldn't because I like this one, and you can put a sharpening choil on your Kapara. Again, I don't think I would go through that effort to do that. It's just something I think I should mention as a reviewer. But it worked out perfectly in the kitchen, worked out perfectly for EDC. Wouldn't personally start customizing it. Unlike the smock, I think for the smock I would buy scales right away. And I'm just mentioning the smock because it's another compression lock that's around the same price. And you might be thinking about that one and might only have $200. So that's why I mention it. Like for the smock, I chained the scales right away. You'd have to buy a clip right away. But for the Kapara, I think the scales are beautiful and the clip is good to go. So I wouldn't start changing the Kapara. Like the Kapara is good to go for me, in my opinion, right out of the box. Let's keep going with the negatives. In the negatives, it might not be a good looking knife in your opinion. A lot of people look at this like it's something really weird looking. Personally, I like the aesthetics, but some people don't. It's really reminiscing of some kitchen knives I have. I should have pulled some out. But yeah, it might not be a looker. The hole out here is a little sharp, so you might want to sand that down. But you know, with my rough hands, it will eventually not be like that. Maybe you like jimping, but again, I don't think it needs it. I used it a lot, but I don't think it needs it at all. It's a knife that's good to go, and I'd call it the full enchilada. And you can actually make enchiladas with it. I mean, it's good to go. The price is a little up there for S30V, in my opinion, but I would still pay the price between this thing and the like. There's a bunch of compression locks now that are not your original, like PM2, PM3, etc. This one is not mine. I borrowed it from my buddy Aaron, AM Sharp on Instagram. Give him that guy a follow. Cool guy, and let me borrow this thing. I'm pretty grateful with it. He allowed me to use it and carry it and review it. And I think this is in the top of my list to own. Not at the top because I still want to check out the Navy Chief first in Rex 45. But this is in my top knives to buy that I already reviewed. Which is difficult to get to that list because if I already review it, then I really need to wanted to buy one of those. But here I am. This is the full enchilada. It is one of my favorite compression lock knives out there.
In conclusion, the Kapara is an excellent piece. Do I recommend it? Yes, I recommend it. If you're looking for a carbon fiber handle type knife with a pretty decent length, pretty decent cutting ability, etc., it is great for EDC. It is great just prepping stuff. To me, it looks great. $200, I believe, is what it's worth right now. For the price, if you're looking for something that feels custom and has a compression lock on it, I would consider the Kapara. So in conclusion, this is the full enchilada. I very much recommend it. And yeah, I love this thing. Super grateful to be able to check it out. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know if you guys want to see that cooking video. And yeah, subscribe. There's a button somewhere and a video that YouTube recommends and a playlist. Y'all have a good day.